In this video, we are going to create a to-do API similar to this one. So you can see we are having an endpoint, and in the body we will be providing a title. So a title can be anything. So suppose that the title is task 6 and the content is let's make other API too. And if I click on send, like you see, it created a API. If you will go to list to do, so this is the endpoint which will like list the to do. So if I click on send, you see it lists the to do. Let's create one more task, task 7. This is 7th task, and let's click on send. So you see this task has been created. So if I will go to list task, it will create, like it will show or return 2 tasks. It's fine. So now if I will go to edit, I want to edit one of the tasks. So I just want to make this task as finished. So you see completed, I will just mark it as finished. So let's put it and let's mark it completed to true. So you see it is like true, like as completed. So if I will run this again, you will find the completed as true. Now I want to delete the task 7. So I will go to the delete. This is our endpoint where you just have to provide the ID of the to do which you want to delete and select the method type as delete, and let's click on send. Deleted successfully. So in the list to do, now if I will click send, it will not list the last task, and there is only one task. And we can see the same thing on our like the MongoDB cloud. So if I go to do, you will see task 6, let's make the API too. So I hope you got the idea of what we are going to make in this video. There is one more thing which is pagination. So suppose if I create one more task and one more task and one more task, so now we are having in total 4 tasks. I can come here and say page 1 and limit 3. So now you will see we are having 3 to do. So now if I will say page 2 and limit 3, you will see only one task. Why? Because there is only 4 tasks. In the first page there were 3, the one which is remaining, which is coming to the page 2. So now if I will say page 3, it will not give us anything. Why? Because in page 3 we don't have anything to show. We were having only 4 result which we have already shown, 3 in the page 1 and remaining 1 in the page 2. Let's start now. First of all, I will create a folder and I will name it to do API. So now I am going to open my editor of my choice, which is Visual Studio Code, and I will like drag and drop the directory in my Visual Studio Code. Okay, so now what I will do, as it is a node project, I will first of all open my integrated terminal, and here I will write npm init. So this will create a file called package.json with the default value like the name, version, description, and the main. So let's clear this. Okay. So now I am going to create one file. So for that, I will just click on this and write the file name index.js. So this will be known as our entry file. Okay. So whenever we will install any dependency, it will come in this file. So let's start by installing the first dependency, which is express. So it will help us in creating our server. So you can see the dependency has been added. Let's install one more dependency, which is uh, .env. So now you can see we have 2 dependency. Let's install one more dependency, which is mongoose for database. And let's install the last dependency, which is npm I nodemon minus capital D for dev dependency. You will see that there will be a dev dependency. Dev dependency are those dependency which is being used during the development cycle only. and which is not being used in production. So here is our dev dependency. So now in the scripts, we will write some scripts. So let's write the first script, which is start node index.js. Let's write one more, which is nodemon.index.js. That's it. So we have written two scripts. That's it. So now what I will do, I will just write npm run dev. That's it. So now it is looking for any change which we are going to make. So I can do one more thing, like I can click on this terminal, and not this one, this terminal, and put it here. So what will happen, like now I can like come to terminal anytime. I don't need to open the terminal from the bottom. Okay, so now let's start writing the code. So first of all, I will write const express require express. So now we are having express const app express. Okay, so whenever you are making API, we need to use parser to parse the incoming data. So JSON. So you can see it parse the incoming request with JSON payload. So let's use this. Sometimes people use body parser library, but when you are like using Express, you can use the Express parser, Express JSON parser, that is same as the body parser. Okay. So now what I will do, I will create one route app.get slash. There will be a request and response, and response dot JSON message server is running. Okay, so this is our first route. So now let's do this app.listen, and we will type the port number here. Also console.log server is running at port. That's it. Now only one thing is missing, which is the port number. So let's come at the top and write const port and 7000. I think that's it. We don't need to do any more thing. Yep. So now what we need to do, we just need to go to our postman. And one more thing, if you will come to this node, you will see that server is running at 7000. Let's clear this now. Okay, now if I will save it again, you will see that server is running at 7000. Let's open the postman and write localhost 7000 and click on send. So you see server is running. So now we need to come here and make our to-do app. So for that, I will start by doing some of the important thing, which is creating a folder which is routes, creating another folder which is model, or let's name it models. Okay, so these are the two important things which we need. After that, we forget one more thing. If you remember, we have installed a dependency called .env. So what happens is that sometimes we are having some kind of configuration or some kind of API key which we do not want to mention in our code. So that's why we use an environment file, or in like we store those things in our environment variable, so that no one can read those data, because that is not in the code base. So I will write port and 8080, and after that I will write database URL, and we need to mention the database URL. So also, as we are going to use Node like the MongoDB as the backend, so let's open the MongoDB site and log in to that site, and let's create a project, and let's name our project anything. So I will name it tutorials let's create the project. So once you create the project, then we need to create a cluster, and creation of cluster can take some time. So because of that, I am creating the cluster at this moment. So let's create the shared, because that's free, and let's change the cluster name to anything, whatever you want to change. So I will name it learn. So now it is going to take some time. So let's get back to our VS Code and let's write some more code. You can see new cluster take between 1 to 3 minutes. Okay, so we will put the database URL here. So here, instead of like using this 7000 port, what we will do, we will pick the port from here. So how can we do that? So we need to remove this thing, and we will just say process.env.port. So now you will see that it will say server is running at undefined. That's fine. It is again saying server is running at undefined. Why? Because we need to load this file. So you see that like we have used this library, but we were not using it. Like we have installed this library, but we were not using it. So now I am like import this library, after that configure this. So now all the variable which has been mentioned in this file is available here. So now this port will be available. If I will go there, server is running at 8080. So now if I will send, nothing will happen. I need to make it 8080. Server is running. So I hope you got the idea how this env file is working. You just need to like require this and configure this. Once you configure this, now all the variable are available. Okay, now let's move one step further and let's start creating the routes for our to do. So I will go to routes, create a new file, and I will name it todo.js. So I will create a, a router, yep, a router, and require, because now we are going to create the routes outside, so we need to create a express router and hmm, yep, router dot get. So first of all, what we need to do, we will need to create a route for list all to do. So get flash, and here we have a callback, which will be a request and response, and here we will return. Don't do anything. Yeah. So here we will have all the to do. So let's create one more route. So this will have the post and slash create a to do. So this is our second route. After that, we will create one more, edit a to do. After that, we will create one more, which is delete. So for editing, the request type is put. For delete, the request type is delete. So at the end, what we need to do, we need to just module dot export the router so that it will be available for someone who is importing this file. That's it. So now I will come here and I will do const to do routes and require route slash to do. So now we got the routes. So we just need to come here and say app.use slash to do and all the routes. That's it. Yep. So now we have created this. So now what we need to do, we need to create the model, because once we create the model, then only we can uh, list all the to do or create any to do. In order to create the model, we need to go to the models folder and create a new file called todo.js. Okay, creation of model is like also similar. In the model creation, what we need to take care is that we will be using mongoose. So const mongoose. So if it is not installed, please install. So I have installed all at the very first. Why? Because so that I will not like needing them or installing them later on, so that I can focus mainly on the mm, writing the code. Okay. So const after that we need schema dot mongoose dot schema. Yep. And after schema we need one more thing, which is model. That's it. So now we are going to create the schema for to do. So const to do schema equals to new schema. So here we will provide the schema detail. So in the schema we will be having the title of the task, and the type will be string. So like the title of the task will be string, and it's a required field, which means you cannot leave it empty. True, that's it. So this one is the title. Let's create one more. So after the title there is something called description. So that will be content and it will not be required. You can leave it as blank. After the this one there will be completed. Completed is basically sometimes you like create a task, when you finish you mark them as completed. So the type will be boolean and the required will be nothing, because there is a default value. Default value is going to be false. So by default this will be false. So once any task is being created, uh, that will be considered as like the not completed. Okay, so let's come here at the bottom. You see there is a this one. Let's add this and let's add timestamp. So timestamp and say true. So it will create the timestamp, which means when it was created and when it was deleted. Okay, now let's come at the very end, which is module dot exports, and let's create the model. Let's name our model as to do and pass the schema, to do schema. That's it. So now we have created a schema for to do. So now we will come to our and we will start writing the code. So const to do equals to require model to do. That's it. So how can we list all? So for that it's very simple. We just have to do dot find, not find, to do dot find, and find and execute, and there could be two things, either error or to do's. So if suppose once this will be executed, what will happen? Either there will be some kind of error or there will be a to do's. So if there is any error, what we will do, we will just return res.json error equals to err. That's it. In case if there is no any error, data will be to do's. That's it. So this is how we are going to do. Let's come to the create, how we will be creating. So let's do const to, and here we are going to provide title, request dot body dot title. After that there will be content. Only two things. So to do dot save, and once we will call the save, to do dot save, and the save will be having two things, error and to do, not rodo, it's to do. Okay, so we just have to follow the same thing which we just have written at the top. If there is any error, return this, or if there is not any error, which means the creation was successful, return that to do. That's it for the create. And for the edit there will be colon id and colon id for this one. So everything looks good at this point. Only one thing is missing, which is connection to the database. So let's come to the index.js file and let's start the connection to the database. Also remember one more thing, we have only written the code for list all the to do and create the to do. We have not written code for edit and delete. Okay, so now we will import the mongoose here again, because in this file we have to connect, require mongoose. So we will say mongoose dot connection, and here we have to provide uh, database connection URL. So connection URI. Okay, and here we just have to say use new URI parser. I think use new URI parser. I think I am doing it. Let me check, because I do not want to do the mistake. So let me Google it once. Yep, use a new URL parser, not URI. URL parser. Yep, I was like little. Okay, so that's it. So this will connect, and this is a promise. So this will return like a future. So what I need to do then, suppose there is everything correct. In that case, this then will be called. In case if there is any problem, then the catch will be called catch err. Now this one looks good, and now we will run our server like app.listen once it has been connected to the database. Before that, we will not start our application. And also we will say console.log database connection successful. That's it. And failed, and here we will say console.log err. That's it. Everything looks good at this moment, and there is only one thing which is missing, which is this variable is not defined yet. So I will come here and I will say this one, copy this, and if you remember, we are having this database URL. So come to this and database URL. That's it. And it's better to put a database URL here. Yep. And yep, everything is done at this moment. Only one thing is missing, which is providing the database URL here, and we are ready to go. So I think it has been created. Now we will just click on connect. So as this is a new cluster, that's why it is asking for some more information, because we have not created any user for this database which will have access. So let's create a user. I will name it admin, and let's click on auto generate, and let's get the password. Let's copy the password from here, create database user. Now the user has been created, but this user cannot access this. Why? Because it does not allow any request from any random IP address. So we need to specify our own IP address. So add a different IP address, add your current IP address, allow from anywhere. So for now I will do allow from anywhere, but if you are doing it for the production, add a different IP address and go to your uh, server or your machine and check their IP address and add that IP address here. But for now I will allow from anywhere, because I am doing it for testing only. Okay, so it's done. So now I will come here. Let's close this and let me show you again. So let's click on connect. You will see that connect to your application, and we are having this thing. You will see that there is no any password. This one is like a placeholder. So always remember, uh, copy the password, because I used the auto generated password. Then I copied this password from there so that I can paste it later on. So the database URL is now available. Everything is good here. Let's come here Let's clear this and mongoose dot connect. Yeah, starting. Let's see. Yeah, connected to database successful. I will upload the code to the server, so don't worry in case like if you face any problem or if you think that something you missed. So I will write to do slash create, and in the headers I will come and say content type JSON, and I will make it post. Come to the body. So like this tool which I am like using now is Postman, and I have to just provide the title task 1 and content. Mm, this is my first task. That's it. Let's click on send. Yep, task, content, everything is fine here. So I will just copy this. I will open the new page and I will send a get request. You see we are having this task 1. Okay, let's create one more task. We made the to do API. This is going to be the description and this will be task 2. Let's send. We made the to do API. If I come here and send, you see now we are having the task 2. We made the to do API. It's cool. Let's create one more last. Let's make other API too. Like we are having some endpoint missing. So you see, yep, this is it. So now we are having some endpoint missing which we are going to make now. So this file is fine. This one is fine. We made the first two. Let's come to the delete or edit. So let's come to the delete because it is like more simple compared to the edit. After that we will see how we can do the delete. No, after that we will see how we can edit. First we will see the delete. So let's do to do. So to do dot delete one or use. I think remove is there. Yeah, remove, and here we have to pass the condition. So just pass that if the id is equal to given id, request dot params dot id. Okay, if the id which is being provided from here, if uh, find the item to do item from the given list and delete it when this condition will match, and yeah, and after that just execute, and there will be two things, error and I think in this case we will not have this error, and to do if error. Let's copy the case from here. Yep, so let's try deleting one of the tasks, not from here. We will just copy the this one, open a new, change this to delete, copy one of the task id. So let's copy this task 1. So I am trying to delete the task 1, so let's paste it. Let's send it deleted count. So this is the result. Okay. Mm, let's say deleted as successfully. That's fine. So suppose if we will try to delete the deleted. Okay, we just deleted. First of all, let's come here and try to get the. So now when we are trying to get all the to do, we are not getting the task 1. Okay, let's delete the task 2 also. Deleted successfully. If we will try to delete the deleted task, uh, it does not say anything. Can you see? It does not say anything. So result. Okay. What's the problem? Nothing is the problem. Can you see deleted count 0? So when deleted count is 0, which means nothing has been deleted. So always remember that if you are trying to delete something, if the query get executed and nothing get deleted, in that case the deleted count will be 0. So you can just check if result dot deleted count equal to 0, which means no to do found or found with given id. Okay, and in this case we will say deleted successfully. Okay, so yep, now I will come here, and if I will run this, no to do found with given id. Okay, let's come here, let's copy the id of task 3, let's paste it here. Deleted successfully. If I will do it again, no to do found with the given id. Okay, it's fine. So now the delete part is done. The only part which is missing is the put, which is update. So let's do that now. So now I will come here and write to do dot. We just need to first of all find by id, and we need to pass this request dot params dot id. We have passed the id, and let's execute this. And when we will execute, we will get two things, if you remember. The first one is the error, and the next one is the to do. That's it. And similar to the other, it will like do the same thing. If there will be any error, it will just return the error. Okay, if there is any error, it knows what it has to do. Okay, in case if there is no any error, what it will do, it will just do to do to do dot, it is it is put, it means we have to update. So to do dot title equals to request dot body dot title. Okay, and after that content. Okay, and after that it will just do, sorry, one more thing, which is completed, and at the end it will do to do dot save, and in the save there will be two things, error or to do, and it will just do, if there will be any error, it will return that error. In case if there is no any error, it will return res.json with data as to do. Everything is good now. We need to remember one more thing, that suppose the title is not being provided, use the default title. If the content is not being provided, use the default content. If the completed is not being provided, use the default content. Okay, okay, let's see if it works or not. So let's like come here, list all the to do. We don't have any to do. Let's create one to do. Task 4, task 5, and task 6. So we have created 3 tasks with same content, task 4, task 5, task 6. So now we are going to modify the task 1 first. So I will come here, I will update this, I will make this as put. If you remember, we have selected put here. So put, and the id, everything is good. Header, content type JSON. Let's come to the body. It is going to be the raw with the JSON uh, content type. Okay, now the JSON. Okay, so first of all, I will only provide completed as true. That's it. I'm not providing anything other than that. Let me show you this first. So the id ends with 83e. So 83e, so completed is false. So now if I will do this, completed as true. So now if you will see all the list, you will see completed as false. Now if I will send it again, it is true. So you saw I made the change. Okay, let's make one more change to the next one, which is this one. I will update the content. So content, I learned something new today. Okay, so you see it has been updated. If I will go here and send it, you see content has been updated. Okay, and let's try to update title, content, and completed all three this time. So title, thank you, we need more tutorials. Okay, and completed as true. Let's send it. Yup, this one is also done. Let's come here and let's thank you, we need more tutorials. This is this one and everything is good. So now the last thing, which is deleting the task 6 and finishing this here. Delete, patch, not patch, delete, deleted successfully. So now we are having two tasks, both are true. Let's make other API too. We need more tutorials. That's it. So I hope that you understood everything, whatever I was trying to like teach you in this video, how to create a API. So we did all the things like listing all the to do, creating the to do, editing the to do, and deleting a to do. There is one more thing which is not very much important, but I will like try to do it very quickly, which is doing the pagination. So suppose that if you are having lots of to do and you want to get them in like multiple pages, so to do dot page request dot params dot page. Once we get the page, then I need the limit. Once I get the limit, also const skip. So skip is going to be page minus 1 into limit. That's it. The default page is going to be always 1. The default limit will be always 10. So now here, after the find, what we have to do, we just have to say skip skip and the limit as limit. But this will probably not work because this is one is going to be like the string and this is going to be a string, so we need to convert them into numbers. So what I can do, I can just add a plus sign before this, or I can use parse int. That's it, and it will now work. So you just have to like parse this also. Yeah, so now let's see this if it works. So let's create lots of tasks very quickly. So currently we are having only two tasks, so I will just call it again and again. 1 2 3 4 5 6. Yep, so now we are having lots of, so you see we are having lots of. So now what I'm going to do, I will say page equals to 1 and limit equals to 3. So you will see that now we are having on limit is 3, page is query dot not request dot params, it should be query. It's not params, it's a query parameter. Okay, so this one is fine. Now if I will run this, you will see we are having only 3 items per page. So if I will make the page as 2, I will move to the next page. Now we are having 3 more items. If I will move to other page, page 3, if you will see we are having only 2 items, which means we are having in total 6 items. So let's move to our database and see if we really have like 3 6 8 items or not. Let's go to collection. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So we really have 8 items only. And when we are doing the pagination with 3 item per page. In third page we are getting 2 items, which means in first page we are having 3, in second page we are having 3, which means in total we get 6. In the third page we are having 2, which means in total it becomes 8. So it's totally fine. I hope that you learn the pagination also. Thank you so much. See you in the next video.